Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Unfortunately, we have just received the pre-warning to a potential missile strike in the areas in which we are all doing this call from. Our guest speaker, Colonel Miri Eisen, herself had to leave her current location in order to seek shelter from the missile attack. So we're going to send out an email and a WhatsApp message to everyone, rescheduling the briefing in about 15 minutes. So please stay tuned and come back for more. Just making sure everybody heard because some of you are joining a little bit later. We have just received a message that there is an incoming strike towards Israel's center, which is where most of us are located. And so we're going to reschedule this briefing in about 15 minutes. We're going to send out a WhatsApp message and an email to all of our audiences to make sure that you've received the rescheduled briefing, which hopefully will be in about 15 minutes. Thank you for your patience. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us again. Welcome back.
Here
We're
I
going
am.
to,
Sorry, I'm out of here.
okay,
Because it's a siren
that's
now.
fine. Go, Miri,
Okay.
go.
Sorry, guys.
All
Bye.
right, bye.
Bye.
Okay, we've got another siren coming into Tel Aviv area to the center of Israel. We're going to try to reschedule at another time. Sorry, guys, this is the reality. What I'm suggesting at this point, if there are specific journalists on the line that we can help facilitate conversations, perhaps in the next day or so. There is a big boom with Miri. Guys, please go to your shelters. Thank you. Okay, guys, good evening. It was supposed to be good afternoon, but we kept on getting pushed off because of the events. We're going to keep this as concise as possible and not test our luck. This is our third attempt at hosting the wonderful Colonel in Reserves Miri Eisen on the very obvious topics of the 10th day of the war, I believe. My name is Talia Dekel Fleisig, for those of you who don't know me. So actually, just I think the second time we were cut off, we did not receive an early warning siren, which means this latest attack was conducted by Hezbollah, which is our topic of conversation. So very timely. Just to put a few facts on the ground, today two Israelis were killed during an Iranian barrage on Tel Aviv. We had two soldiers fall in battle on the Lebanese front yesterday, bringing the total of deaths in Israel, I believe, to be at 16. Miri, very quickly, without too many superlatives, because I don't want to waste too much time. You're a senior fellow at the International Institute for Counterterrorism in Herzliya. She was a senior officer in the IDF, having served for 2 decades in a variety of positions, including the intelligence officer of a regional border brigade and the assistant director of military intelligence, as well as in civilian life, being the international media advisor to the prime minister from the Second Lebanon War until the end of 2007. So thank you very much, Mary, for your time. I appreciate the fact that you keep coming back despite your long walk to the shelter. Can you break down what exactly is going down at this point?
All right. So first of all, good afternoon, evening, morning, wherever you are. It's a pleasure to be talking to everybody. And as Talia said, it's day 10. Day 10 is the one where we all kind of get tired. Isn't it over yet? What are the goals? What are the aims? But the goals and the aims are the same as they were on day one. And on day one, we said it would take 2 to 3 weeks. And we're on that 10th day, which means that we're all tired of it all. What has happened in the last week in a very strong way has been the addition into the attack against Israel, and we call it retaliation. And in this case, I'm going to say it's about choice, is Hezbollah having joined in full front with the Islamic regime. And what I want to focus on is on 2 points that have to do with that, and then a little bit of discussion to go wherever questions you want to go. What we're looking at right now of Israel's actions against Hezbollah in Lebanon are after Hezbollah on March 2nd chose to join in. Until Monday, they hadn't joined in. That was a choice. It was a choice made by Hezbollah, which is both Lebanese, Shiite, Arabic speaking, that is probably nobody knows the number inside Lebanon, but it is also that Islamic regime's prize proxy. And I put it out there right now because that choice that was made on Monday is one that opened up what is for me two levels. At the strategic level, I think that Hezbollah made an enormous mistake. That is my assessment. I think that they jumped into this, and what they're doing right now is they're saying we're all there, we're for Iran, and what they did is choose Iran over Lebanon. I want to remind you, they are Lebanese, Arabic-speaking Shiites, and what they've chosen is that alliance, that allegiance to the Islamic regime in Tehran over anything Lebanese. Now remember that inside Lebanon, parallel to these events, both on Saturday and Sunday before they joined in, and in the weeks before that, the Lebanese government, as it exists right now, outlawed Hezbollah, said that they were trying to disarm. They weren't, but they said that they're trying to. They did actions, including now they're still talking about that. So strategically, this Hezbollah choice, from my perspective as an Israeli and as an analyst, was a big, big mistake. But then I get to the tactical level. Because at the tactical level, Hezbollah has a large portion of arms. Now, there's statistics, meaning in the former round when Israel went on the initiative against Hezbollah, the IDF at the time said last year, it's almost a year and a half ago, September, October, November 2024, the IDF said that the IDF had destroyed, let's say, 70% of the munitions, the capabilities that they had. And you go, wow, 70%. And I go, yeah, that means that 30% was left. And what we're seeing is the 30%. That means that they still have missiles, they still have drones, they still have ATMs, and they have them in different distances. But what's the Israeli tactical decision right now? And it has to do with the total change of Israel's strategy. And this strategy is a continuation of what changed in Israel after October 7th. And that is that now Israeli policy is preempt, prevent, not delay. That is a huge change in policy. And in the prevent and preempt, it means you don't sit around and wait for Hezbollah to rearm. You don't sit around and wait for them to use their weapons. You don't hope that they won't use their weapons. And you don't hope that the Lebanese armed forces that have not done anything to disarm Hezbollah, they've only said that they're doing it, that that'll make the difference. No. If there's anything that we saw on Monday when Hezbollah joined in strategically, is which side they're on. So Israel is preempting and preventing. That includes both the air campaign, but it also includes, at the beginning now, I would say a small maneuver, and I wouldn't even call it maneuvering, ground campaign. I expect that to be expanded, not because we want to conquer Lebanon, not because we want to do it in that way, but because in preventing and preempting, part of that is that it won't have, again, the situation that Israeli citizens who are living inside their houses all along the border have to up and leave their homes because they're targeted. How are they targeted? By missiles, rockets, drones, and ATMs, which is exactly what Hezbollah has been using over the last 4 or 5 days. So I bring you into this new idea. It's already a week. I bring this into this new idea, March 2nd to 9th. My God, how time she flies, right? Okay. So Hezbollah made a choice. That was a strategic one. I absolutely think that they made a horrific strategic choice. It isn't that it gave Israel the excuse. Israel's policy nowadays is to prevent and preempt. As soon as they started firing, we don't sit around and wait now and just defend. We preempt and prevent, and we're using this now, going on and in to dismantle, to locate the storage facilities, to go to all of the places in southern Lebanon that the Lebanese armed forces said that they went to and didn't go to. That the United Nations Interim Force in Lebanon, UNIFIL, is sitting there and saying, oh, maybe there's something there or not. We're going to go to them now. That's south of the Litani. But a lot of what they're firing at Israel is not south of the Litani River. It's coming both in the drones especially, but also in the different types of missiles. It's very effective against the anti-tank missiles, the distance. but a lot of the weaponry and the storage facilities are north of there because we also did not go against them in a full-scale way last in September, October, November of 2024. And that's what we're doing. It can be at the heart of Beirut in the Dachia, which is the neighborhood. Dachia means neighborhood. In the neighborhood in Beirut, which has been the stronghold of Hezbollah for so many years. And this isn't about targeting the high level. This is about storage facilities, drones. They completely understand where they hide their weaponry. I remind you all of the explosion in the Beirut port. They hide their weaponry in the height inside every single place they can. And of course, it's going out against their strongholds in the Bekaa Valley. The big difference when it comes to what Israel is doing now towards Hezbollah, and I'm specifically saying, I said on that tactical level, is that Hezbollah does not have open skies for the Islamic regime to be able to resupply them. They do not have the land route from Iran through Iraq, where they may have it, but not through Syria anymore to supply them. That's very different, which means that every place that now we attack and destroy, they cannot resupply themselves as they did in the past. Last point that I'm going to make on this is that what Israel has also been trying to do, and that specifically today, okay, it's Hezbollah going against the storage, the weapons, the capabilities. It's going against hierarchy, but it's also going against the money. Why is the money important? Everybody always, like, what do you care about the money? Because at the end of the day, if I am Shiite, Arabic speaking Lebanese, I was born in Lebanon, grew up in Lebanon, Hezbollah pays me $1,000 a month. And the Lebanese armed forces pay me between $25 to $50 a month. Money matters. $1,000 can take care of my family. $25 to $50 cannot take care of my family. And so the money matters. And today, President Aoun of Lebanon, who is the Maronite president who was appointed January of 2025, so we're already a year into his being president. That's a long time in that sense. And he has openly been against Hezbollah. Usually in the past, that meant that Hezbollah would blow him up into little pieces. Today, he had a virtual Zoom meeting with the European Union. I should say that it was just after he swore in 3 European ambassadors. So there's both a photograph of him swearing in the ambassadors of, I think, like Sweden, Denmark, and maybe it was Finland or something like that. I don't remember the exact countries, but it was Northern European countries. And then after that, you see him sitting in front of a Zoom camera like we are right now, talking to the EU. And what did he say there? He openly said, we're against Hezbollah. We've outlawed Hezbollah. He says we've disarmed Hezbollah. But what he says is that that's all we can do. Let's sit down, us and Israel, let's talk. And here I give you the limits of power, okay? Israel has not attacked until now, not a single site that's a Lebanese site. All of the sites that we've attacked are Hezbollah. Hezbollah are Lebanese. That goes to the same problem of Hamas being Palestinian or the Islamic regime of Iran being Iranian. But the targets themselves are the terror military targets. And let alone the fact that we're are emptying the different places, it's because they built all of their storage facilities and all of their capabilities in the heart of the urban area. If it's in southern Lebanon, if it's in the mainly Dachia area of Beirut, or if it's in the Bekaa Valley. So we give these orders up front, leave because we're coming to attack. We can be attacking, we're not attacking banks. We're attacking the money that supplies Hezbollah fighters, that gives them that oomph to be there and not do something else. There's always ideology. There's lots of other things. But when you look at the targets themselves, that's the aims of Israel. Preempt and prevent, not just delay. And it combines hand in hand with the Islamic regime of Iran. Yesterday, Israel, in the heart of Beirut, inside a hotel, attacked and killed and put out. Again, we don't hide behind it. We put out statements and we say what we've done. Why did we attack a hotel? As opposed to the Islamic regime that's attacking hotels all over the Gulf. We attacked that hotel because we were attacking members of the Iranian Quds Force, the liaison, meaning it's both very high-ranking Hezbollah Lebanese who are already working with the Islamic regime and Persian-speaking Islamic regime, Iranian Revolutionary Guard Quds Force. We attacked and killed 5 of them in that hotel in Beirut, which means that we're looking both at the head of the snake, at the one who supplies the proxy, and at all of the different targets that are inside Lebanon. So that's what I would give now as the lay of the land. The IDF will want to continue this Talia as long as they can, because the more you do, the more targets you hit. I am going to say that we're now in the time where, because we told hundreds of thousands, the Lebanese are saying 1 million people to move. And at the end, how many people are in Lebanon? 8, 9 million, and we told 1 million people to move to save their lives. It's a question of time now between the Lebanese government taking responsibility, very challenging issue, and between Israel trying to destroy the weapons, the storage facilities, the facilities, sorry, that make the weapons. It's called me running back and forth from the bomb shelter. Yeah,
Grab some water if you want.
exactly. No, it's like lose my voice in the middle of all my pathos, right? Okay. And I'll stop at that right here as the opening.
Sure. Wow, Mary, you've said quite a bit, and I want to unpack some of that. And some of the questions that have come in touch on a few of the things you've mentioned. So first of all, very clear. A lot of questions coming in terms of how far Israel can go, and I think it opens, it opens up the door to some of the other things you said in terms of timing, but specifically on the issue of targets being north. The more significant targets being north of Litani. We also heard from opposition leader Yair Lapid saying that Israel needs to advance. And of course, you mentioned, the hit in Beirut, but to get a lot of these things done, we're going to need more boots on the ground in order to have a specific, as specific of an operation as possible, which of course opens yet another issue, which is the fact that it's very likely that we're going to see more fatalities on the Israeli side, which is something that always happens when we increase our ground operations. And this is something that touches on to what we were discussing earlier in terms of, the kind of ability for the Israeli public to continue to support. We see that the support for the war is very high, but I actually want to drive this conversation, if you can, to the direction of even socially how we're going to be able to sustain a longer war, especially since we're now in our third year of what seems to be endless disruption to routine and death, and of course.
Okay, so we're going to go 1, 2, 3. I'm going to try and break this down and take it in different bites. Militarily, right now, it's taking what we've done in the past, meaning in September, October, November of 2024, when we went into very specific arenas where the Radwan forces were deployed south of the Litani. I think that right now we're going to want to go to every single place that we think that the Radwan forces were deployed, that we may have told the Lebanese armed forces to go there, because it was all south of the Litani, and to go clear them out. And meaning if we know 20 or 30 or 40, that's going to be inside urban areas, inside cities and towns. We did not do that last time. That's part of it. Going north of the Litani. Going north of the Litani, the challenge is that if you look on the map afterwards, all of you, you'll see that there's a portion of the Litani where it's literally 3-4 kilometers north of the Israeli border. It's not 15 or 20 kilometers. And then it becomes a bit about topography, where I look, okay, on a map to see where they can fire, mainly ATMs, but not because the ATMs go directly into the houses. Where they can fire them directly into northern Israel. I want somebody who lives in Metula, Kfar Yuval, in all the different places that were hit in the year and a half that Hezbollah was targeting them. From October 7th, really that year, until November 27th, 2024. I want them to be able to stay in their homes and to not fear an ATM coming into their house. That doesn't stop missiles. Okay, I'm talking about anti-tank missiles that go kind of directly. I'm doing with my finger, okay, as opposed to different types of rockets and missiles that come in an arc are slightly less exact, or drones. But I want to push that away so that there's more warning time. Okay, gives a little bit of time and space that we don't have right now. And so the Litani River is a convenient place. Does that mean
Are you getting a warning siren?
I am not. You are.
Not. So
That
can you?
doesn't mean I won't get it in another moment.
Okay, so let's continue until you do, because I
Okay.
can reach a safe room
Okay. No, I'm
and
good.
my staff, of course.
Okay. Absolutely. That's very important that everybody is good. because we did not get here, but that doesn't mean I won't. So when I look at that in that sense, and again, look afterwards on the maps of Lebanon. It's the same maps. I was a young officer in the first Lebanon war. I was the government spokesperson, prime minister's advisor in the second Lebanon war. So that southern Lebanese arena is made up out of hundreds, 150, almost 200 Shiite communities, some of them cities, some of them towns, some of them villages. And then it's a question of how you know where to go to be able to find where the weapons are, where the storage facilities are, where they're firing against us. So that's on the ground aspect of what you were talking about. My challenge to myself and to all of us right now is that the IDF knows how to do that. I do not think that the IDF nor the government of the State of Israel ever know when to stop, said Miri. Okay, that's my own personal opinion. I'm looking at that right now. Is it a clear plan of where you're going to? That's one thing. But even when you get there, if you just do a little bit more. But it's not just in the area, which is, of course, as I said, south of the Litani. To me, that's very clear. From the Litani north, to be sure that you won't be able to hit anything inside northern Israel in a direct hit, that's a little more iffy about ground troops. But at the same time, it will continue an overall air campaign, both against Beirut and against the Bekaa Valley. And I'm going to say not as a negative. I also think that there's the possibility of trying to do certain specific ground operations that can come from different places. So that's about where it goes there. I think that the Israeli community cannot handle a lot of fatalities, and your point is very well taken, meaning that with fatalities will also come the sense of why are we doing that? So I just gave you a very clear reason of why we're doing that. That lasts up to a certain stage. And I say the same thing, by the way, also about what's happening when it goes to Iran. The fact that we have absolute air superiority over Iran does not mean that we can be everywhere in a country of 93 million people and stop all of their missiles. Look, we don't. Okay, look what happened just today. And they have lots of missiles. They prepared themselves for that. And Hezbollah is trying to fire today as much as possible parallel together with Iran, meaning you got that early warning of the 5 minutes. And everybody's like, wow, they're so coordinated. And I'm like, it's actually easier than that. All you have to do is follow the app. You see when Iran fired, and 5 minutes later, you fire, and then there's no early warning. And as I say, the 5 minutes, you still get a siren. That siren is early warning, 60 seconds, 90 seconds, gets you to a safe place and time. So I think that the support for the IDF will continue. I also, there's for all of you journalists, there's an Israeli rock star who's old. She's my age, right? She's in her 60s, but so she's old for a rock star. And she had a very famous song that she put out in the summer of 1982, which was, "You don't do wars in the summer, you don't do wars in the winter." Okay? Why am I telling you that? Because what can I tell you? The weather for this war is very convenient, okay? Meaning we're not too hot in the safe room. It's not, okay, as silly as that sounds, it gives us a little bit of longevity. You can be outside and then go back in. It's not raining. On the other hand, it's not really hot. I don't know how long we can last. But I want to touch here on how long we can last economically. I'll recommend for those who don't know to go into the Taub Center, which is a social policy research center that has put out over the last 10 days, every single day, the economic cost of this war for the state of Israel. Because you can price it, how much it costs a day, both in the sense of, the munitions, that's easy, that's hardware, not easy, it's a lot of money. But there's the whole price of what it does to your economy and the fact that people are not going to work. The kids are not going to school. If kids are home, people can't go to work. But you can't open the schools if it's not safe. So there's a whole aspect of that there. And it impacts the GDP, and they can compare it to what happened during the last 2.5 years of the war. During all of that time, I mean, oh my God, we've been in this war for such a long time. So there's the aspect of the resilience of us, of the fact that we're here and we got an early warning and I haven't moved and you haven't moved and we're laughing about it. And we laughed about the three last ones as we were sitting here because we have nasty senses of humor. And most people think that that means that we're nasty, but it's actually a nasty sense of humor. Because I'm really disturbed by the amount of people who view negatively the fact that there are parties underground in the bomb shelters. And I'm like, what do you want us to do? Sit around and cry? But that's my cynical Israeli sense of humor. But economy-wise, you can do this up to a point, and that's on every level. There will be a dip in the GDP. In the first week of the war, our stock market went up. Why did it go up? You all realize that there's real potential here. There's real potential here. That's the Israeli hope where the whole world went down. And Israel's stock market said, the day after, there's actually the chance that the Islamic regime of Iran will not be only focused on its proxies and on its exports and on its destabilizing. Perhaps. Isn't that a nice idea? Today, I saw that it's already going down because at the end, as time accumulates, for an economy to recover, to people go back, there's, as I said, that cycle, the kids, school, and all of those things. So I answered all three.
You did indeed. A couple of questions have come in about whether or not we can, especially touching on what you said about what the Lebanese government has already stated and said and done, whether Israel can actually, kind of maybe depend on this new phase of relations. We also heard that there might be talks going on, what that means, but specifically regarding whether we can maybe even count on the Lebanese armed forces to do some of the work, taking into consideration that some of them, as you said, are themselves, they might be supportive of Hezbollah at the end of the day.
So it's a balance, okay? When this is over, and every war has an end, okay? Even the 100 Years' War, okay? It has an end. When this is over, Lebanon will still be our northern border. Okay. Iran's far away, that's true, but we saw their missiles can get to here. And Iran worked via proxies. When this is over, Lebanon will still be there. And I pose it to all of us and to the Israeli decision makers. And there's a difference here between your military target to try to destroy the terror military capabilities they have, and between what you want to have in Lebanon the day after. And the new government, already for the last year, has consistently said very positive rhetoric. Not positive, Herzl was a good guy, I'm a Zionist. Positive that we want to have dialogue with Israel, including Aoun today. Joseph Aoun said it again. Did I say Michel before? Joseph Aoun said it again today in his very public interview that he was talking about. He's willing to talk. They call Hezbollah, they don't call it a terror entity, but they say you cannot have another army. They're recognizing the fact that they have the most armed militia in the world inside Lebanon, that they can't have that. How do you boost the Lebanese armed forces and not let the Lebanese armed forces become the domestic Hezbollah? That's what scares Israel the most. Because at the end, if those Shiites go and they serve in the Lebanese armed forces, and everybody says, yay, the Lebanese armed forces, the British back them, the French back them, the Italians back them, everybody's on their side. And it fills up with people who keep that same ideology. That's very challenging. But how can we stop it? And I give it as part of the balance right now and part of that problem. If they don't have more oomph, who's going to disarm or at least make Hezbollah go underground so that it's against the law? But if that oomph comes from their turning themselves into what could become a very big problem for us, I give it as the scenarios. I don't have a better way to address it right now inside there. I'm also worried that when we hold I'll put it on two sides. The Israelis hold the Lebanese government responsible. And the Lebanese government does not hold itself responsible, and the rest of the world does not hold the Lebanese government responsible. And I go, really? Okay, it's like I see the way it is. Either be a terror organization and then you're not responsible, like Hamas. How can you hold them accountable? They're not a state. I'm like, yay, I'll be a terror organization. Okay, now I got one. Okay, we did well. We did well. Okay, sorry, I have to go again. I don't think this time we're going to be able, but that was a good 25 minutes. I'm running off,
Take
okay?
care. I'm sure we'll continue next time. Thank you so much for your time, Miri, and to everyone on the line. We have a few more questions left for Miri, so we will try to do a part 2 of this tomorrow, and get all the questions that weren't asked. We do have quite a few also that came in through WhatsApp, through email, and through the chat box here. So stay tuned for part 2, and please stay safe. Goodbye, everybody, and thank you also to my colleagues, Matthias Sakal, Esti Yaari, Jonathan Beck, Ali Naor, and anyone else who helped facilitate this call. Goodbye.